Hey Clear Lake peeps, Ross England with Clear Lake Guide Service and your fishing report for November 4th, 2021. As you can see, looks pretty nice here. Late in the day, so some softened light. Okay, so we had a big rain event couple weeks ago, and many of you wondering what's happened, how's that actually impacted the lake and whatnot. The lake came up about 0.8 of a foot and kind of just peaked there. Just leveled out and hasn't really gone anywhere from there. Kelsey Creek, the creek that's in my backyard, where it had come up 4 to 5 feet during the big rain event, it's down to probably a foot, maybe a foot and a half. Adobe Creek, which was running, is dry again. I honestly can't tell you what's happening at Rodman because I didn't get over there today. It's kind of on my radar, but I only had 3 hours to come out this afternoon just to do this, and I wasted most of that 3 hours between running and not catching any fish. So that'll be part of the fishing report as well. So water level, pretty consistent. We're at about just short of 1.5 foot negative Rumsey. So we got a long ways to go. The good news is the rain that we did get really helped the launch ramp at 5th Street, and I'm sure it helped it quite a bit down at Clear Lake Oaks. At this point in time, I stopped by the county park. They're not open. There wasn't anybody around that I could talk to, so I don't know when they will open or reopen, and I do not know what the status is right now of Redbud. Hopefully it's next week I can get down and talk to Jimmy a little bit and kind of give you an update on that. So same issue. We got 2 launch ramps that are running, 5th Street, Clear Lake Oaks. Both of them are in pretty good shape right now. So I think this chunk of rain we got really kind of buffered my concerns about how it was going to go the rest of the year. So there's the launch ramp situation. Water conditions, temperature when I launched was 62.5. The highest I saw in the running around I've done this afternoon was 63.5. So somewhere between probably 62 in the morning, 63.5, and it depends. Some of these mornings have been real foggy. Anybody who fished the tournaments last weekend knows that Friday, Saturday there was some fog out on the water, and that's kind of normal for this time of year. So hopefully we don't see a whole lot more of that in the near future. But anyway, that's the water temperature. Water clarity, I don't care for it at all. Everything that I saw, and all I did was I got from Lakeport down into the Narrows, ran over into Nice and Lucerne for a little bit. The watercolor is the same color everywhere I was today, and that was brown. Not muddy brown, and not that tannic coffee colored brown which the lake gets to at some point. It just a brown color, and I could maybe see a foot. There wasn't anywhere that I stopped that I could see any more than that. The algae blooms, more so down below in some quiet water. There was a little bit of algae, just little pockets of it, and nothing that got in the way of fishing or, in my opinion, impacted the fishing at all. So I did go. The main reason I went over through Lucerne and a little bit of Nice was I just wanted to check some of the weed beds that were over there and see how they're holding up and what's left of them. Last report I gave, those weed beds looked like they were still in pretty good shape as far as being fairly intact over there. They're about half gone now, and I would expect that to continue over the next couple of weeks. Probably a combination. Their life cycle is gone, so they're dying. And I'm assuming the last weekend with some of the weather we got, there was some wind that really aided that and kind of tore it up. Some of the weed beds that a lot of guys knew about down in the Narrows area, they're disappearing like nobody's business. So that's pretty much the conditions on water, lake level. Let's talk a little bit about fishing. I haven't fished since the last report, except for the little bit that I did this afternoon, and it wasn't good. I spent an hour trying to spoon up a catfish, and that didn't work. Never got bit. I knew I was in trouble, even though it was during the middle of the week on a sunny day like this. When you show up to Shag Rock and there's nobody sitting there, there's probably not much of a catfish bite, and that's pretty much what I saw. The folks who were asking about crappie, I did go by a couple of areas that are traditional crappie areas, and there's nobody fishing on them, so I'm making the assumption there's really not much of a crappie bite. And then considering that I put a good 2 hours in just fishing some shallow rock in the Narrows and kind of around in that same general area, I never got bit. So the combination of my little experience this afternoon and looking at the tournament results from last week, I think the fishing's tough. It's just, it shouldn't be this way, but it is. For the most part, usually this time of year we're doing pretty well down in a little bit deeper water, just fishing a shaky head and fishing it hard, and it just doesn't seem to be going. Don't know if it's a timing issue. I'm not seeing a ton of bait fish, which allows you to kind of concentrate on certain areas. I know there's bait fish out there, but the other issue that I'm seeing is we've got a pretty big difference between the normal population of grebes that are here during the winter, late fall, early winter, and what's here now. And it's not on the good side. I mean, there's grebes around, and it looks like a lot of them, but compared to what we're used to, there's nowhere near the amount of grebes here. So I'm thinking that probably the bait fish population isn't in as good a shape as we might have hoped it was. I think during reports during the course of the year, I've kind of said that I really haven't found a whole lot of threadfin shad around, and that still is true. I still haven't found a whole lot of threadfin shad. It looks like it was a year that was kind of dominated by silversides, and I'm just not seeing a ton of them right now either. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously the lake is not dead. There was a tournament held and a lot of fish weighed in, some nice ones, some decent limits. And then, there's some people who struggled. So I'm going to rate the fishing as tough right now. And until something changes, probably keep reporting the same thing. So activities, really isn't anything going on that I know of any significance in the next couple of weeks. I know that there's a couple of tournaments scheduled in November. We'll talk about those when we get to them. And just keep in mind, those of you that watch these things all the way to the end, if you don't see a report on Thursday morning, it's probably because I was somewhere else. So if you're enjoying these reports, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. And thanks for watching. We'll see you when we do the next report.